Hi everybody, my name is Matthew Chase. I am president and founder of the Hovercraft project here in the United States. Thanks so much for the time and the platform to be able to talk to you all about how I use hovercrafts over here. It's unique, it's interesting, and I think you'll get a good kick out of it. So check out this 2-minute video and we'll talk here in a second.
The Hovercraft project.
Okay, so after watching that video, I'm gonna predict what you're thinking right now. Right now, every single one of you is thinking, I wish I had done that in school, right? Yeah, that's probably what you're thinking. If you're not, I'll answer the other questions later. Every single school that we go to, which is 80 schools across the United States, when we get a principal or a teacher or a superintendent sitting on the hovercrafts that their 5th or 6th graders have built, and I push them across the floor, they turn into little kids. They all absolutely love getting on this thing. There's something about a hovercraft that you build with your own hands that just blows your mind. All of you know what I'm talking about. I love watching your racing hovercrafts and the DIY home-built hovercrafts, the rescue hovercrafts that you guys have all taken up and built. They're so cool. So you guys understand what I'm talking about when I say there's something about a hovercraft, right? Pretty cool. I'm going to go through the what, the how, and the why of what we do at the Hovercraft project to get you a little more acclimated as to our main purpose. First of all, what do we do? We are here to change education into something that kids will retain better. So as an example, instead of opening a math book to page 246 and saying, let's learn X, Y, and Z, I'm putting a hovercraft in front of them, and I'm saying I want you guys to solve this problem so that you can build a hovercraft, and me nor any other adult in the room can help you. Go. Now this is how you guys have developed a lot of your hovercrafts, right? You get together with teams, you talk to other people who have built hovercrafts, and you figure out a way through the problem together. I am doing that with teams of 5th and 6th graders. That's what they do. They will cry, they will beg for help, and I will tell the teachers, do not help them. The only way teachers are allowed to assist them is by asking questions back to them. So a teacher could say, well, you're stuck. What tools do you have available to use? Who else on your team might know something that would be helpful to have you solve your problem? I have all the teachers ask as many questions as they want to. They cannot give any answers. So what do? We teach problem solving, number 1. We're teaching kids how to work as a team and how to problem solve as a team. Number 2, we're teaching kids how to communicate. They will butt heads like crazy. They will be angry with each other. They will try to give up. But in the end, the motivation to build this hovercraft that we all find fascinating overwhelms them, and they will keep coming back to a problem until it is solved. The problems I've created for them are difficult and they're above their grade level. But it's fascinating when you get a group of brains together, they can solve problems that are more difficult for just one person, which is just fascinating to me. So what we do, we create value in people, we teach them to communicate, we teach them to get all those soft skills as a group and build a hovercraft. It's fascinating. Now, how do we do all of this? Well, right now I'm talking in, if you can see, I'll show you a picture of this later. I'm in a big motor coach, like an RV basically, and I have 16 different hovercrafts and all the materials to build 16 hovercrafts on this RV. No, they're not the same size as your hovercrafts are. They're about 3 feet in diameter, but they work really well. We take these hovercraft materials into a school, and in one day, we give them all of the problems that they need to solve as a team, and then all the instructions to assemble these, and then test them and modify them, and they get on them, and they fly them across their gymnasiums. All right? That's exactly how we do it. At the end of the day, I typically will load up all the materials that I need to reuse. They can typically keep the skirts because they worked really hard on building those, and they can take the skirts home and build them on their own out of something much less expensive than what I've come up with. And then why do we do what we do? That's an interesting thing to explain. I was a teacher in 5th grade, and I realized that students do not learn well sitting down. I learned that most students learn really well by being up and about and talking with each other and failing fast and learning that it's okay to fail, and all of the things that we are not doing in school, I realize are what students really need. So I came up with this project in school to help teach something about friction way back in the day, and I realized that they learned so well, they learned so much more than what I taught them, that I just decided to take this whole project on the road. I quit being a teacher in a school, in one school anyway, and now I'm a teacher in 80 schools just about every year. So that is the why. Here's the next video showing a little bit more about the why of what we do, and if you take a notice of it, the hovercraft blowers and the batteries are a little bit different than the first one that you saw. So the video you're seeing right now is going to be one of the very earliest versions of this hovercraft, and take note of that, see what you think. I'll be back in a few.
I was a 5th grade teacher. I was opening a book one day and I was getting so tired of saying turn to page 132 that I wanted to get a hands-on project that would get kids active in a classroom, not just sitting down.
Everybody is important. If you have been bullied before and you feel like you're not worth as much as everybody else is, I'm telling you, this project will show you that you are worth just as much as everybody else out there.
I'm Matthew Chase. I'm the creator of the Hovercraft project. The day starts out with me talking for about 10 minutes. Then the very first thing they do is create a team name. Then they start cutting out the skirt. I give them a minimal amount of information. I tell them what to cut. I tell them what I expect, and they have to source whatever they need to source to accomplish what I want them to accomplish. After they cut out the skirt, I instruct them on how to assemble the whole hovercraft. At that point, they'll do testing. They're listening, they're observing, they're recording all of their observations. After we get to that point, we go towards our competition. The collective group of brains will produce something much greater than one. And in the same way with these kids, when I can get 6 or 8 kids together around a hovercraft, even though they don't know what it is when they get in here, 6 hours later they're experts at creating a hovercraft and then working as a team. So the Hovercraft project is a large-scale project that reinforces classroom learning as well as teaching leadership and teamwork.
Okay, so did you see those yellow battery boxes and the blowers? So those blowers are 120 volt blowers, all right? I ended up modifying those because in that yellow box is a custom built battery. I'm also a master electrician, that helps. So I custom built a battery box, batteries, and charge controller, everything, and modified the blower so that they would work on the very first hovercrafts. They worked really well. The problem is they were super heavy, and a DC switch is hard to throw for a 5th grader. It takes a lot of work, which is why you see me using now these DeWalt blowers. The DeWalt blowers are much easier for the kids to handle. They are much lighter to deal with. Everything's better. So every year I keep failing and trying to modify and make everything a little bit better. A huge push is for kids not just to learn better, but also to learn to love to learn. Did you catch that? Learn to love to learn. I don't want kids to just learn. I want them to love it, right? When you guys are working on your hovercrafts, you might get so ticked off at a problem, but in this really sick, weird way, you love it. You want to find that solution. You want to talk to people. You want to get through it. You want your hovercrafts to be better. That's what I want these kids to have, to realize that frustration is okay, and that I want them to love learning. When I bring in these materials, they somehow love learning quickly. They will be aggravated. That's okay. We all are. It's part of human nature. But when they see the fruits of their labor at the end, they absolutely look back and go, man, I loved this experience. And they connect frustration and struggle with success. And that's what I want them to see. I want them to see success and a love for learning. So learn to love to learn as our main logo byline of the Hovercraft project. That's a really good main focus. How teaching should be. For those of you, if any of you are teachers, this is how teaching should be. This next video I'm going to give you is off of a school in South Carolina, and it's a school called Pine Street. I want you to pay attention to what the teachers say. It's loud in the room. You have to read what the teachers say at the bottom, but look what they say and see that it really wakes up what teaching should be all about within a teacher. This is what teaching should be all about. So check out this next video from Pine Street in South Carolina. Notice what the teachers are saying.
Hi, I'm Sam Foster, and we're at Pine Street Elementary School. We're doing the Hovercraft project.
I particularly loved the problem-solving aspect and the team meeting at the beginning when we talked about leadership and about being empowered as individuals is great. That was great.
Do you think there are skills and tools that they're doing this morning that will be a platform to jump from for the rest of the year?
Oh yes, but just incorporating, working together. That's a skill that a lot of kids need to master.
Okay, did you notice that the teachers really enjoyed the soft skills that the students are learning? The soft skills would be communication, problem resolution, conflict management, all of that. They really need those skills early on. We don't want students to develop these soft skills as adults. We want them to develop them now as students so that when they become adults, they are much more productive, much easier to work with, right? You'll know people that have soft skills and you like to work with them. The people that don't, you don't like to work with them. So we want those soft skills developed, and the teachers really appreciated that. I want to go on to 2 more things. One thing is going to be, I want to go through a couple different interesting developmental hurdles we had to get through with this project, and then literally what parts we used to make it. So first of all, it took us over 10 years to develop this project. That's a whole lot of trial and error. I am a wannabe engineer. I am not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination. I really wish I was. I just don't have the time. That's a lot of math. So I work really well by failing fast. I buy stuff, I try it, it doesn't work, I try something else. So that's 10 years of trial and error of materials that are no longer used, but we've arrived at a project now that is the most safe, efficient use of materials for 5th and 6th graders to give the greatest amount of learning possible. I absolutely love that. Here's a few materials that we use. First of all, you've all seen, I'm not going to pull one in the RV right now, but you've seen this huge circle. It's a white circle, right? That's 41 inches in diameter. That's the main base of our hovercraft that we sit on, and that's made out of PVC. It's just plastic. So that's cut in a circle, piece of cake. Next, we have this thing. We call this the pancake. The pancake sits on the bottom of the hovercraft, and it pulls the skirt up in the middle, right? Because in the middle of your hovercraft, when the skirt comes around, it comes up, it has to create this little void in the middle. And that void basically allows all of the air that's escaping out of the center to basically evenly pressurize and escape evenly underneath the skirt. This holds it up, helps create that void underneath, and I can show you that a little bit later. Next, we have the skirt material itself. Okay, so if you can check this out, this is cross-woven. Do you see it's woven in 90-degree angles? It's cross-woven, super flexible, and it's really hard to tear. It'll take a lot of pressure. So I don't think we've ever had one tear in the last couple of years since we've gone to this stuff. So all this is house wrap. It's like, you know, pick your random house. Here we have Home Depot and Menards carries this stuff, and you know, whatever. It's just house wrap that will waterproof the outside of your house. It's pretty simple. Next we have the blower. This is a DeWalt blower. It's a 36 volt DeWalt leaf blower. It gives you the highest static pressure you can get, which is 0.45 psi, almost half of a psi. So technically, by calculation, our hovercraft should pick up approximately 400 to 500 pounds. And we've tested it to about 350, but not really much beyond that because I can't get that many bodies on the hovercraft. So that's what this is, 36 volt DeWalt leaf blower. Notice that this has a special fitting on the end. This is called a camshaft fitting. This camshaft fitting fits down over another fitting, which is this. This is attached to the hovercraft body. This fits down over top of it, and then these lock up. So now the hovercraft blower is attached to the body itself, and it can spin, which is important when you watch the kids as they're moving around. This is flexible enough, it's not going to break off. This is the impeller that is inside of this. And this is super important because this is called, if I can get the name right, this is called a backwards curved axial fan. So the blades on this thing, when they spin like this. Air gets sucked in here, and you can see how the blades would push the air out. You're creating low pressure here and super high pressure here. I figured out in a lot of research that if the blades overlap each other, huge key, like in a turbine, when the blades overlap each other, you can get a much higher static pressure than like a normal propeller on the front of an airplane. So Our static pressure is much higher because of this. If you have a different kind of a leaf blower that just has a fan in the middle and you can see between the blades, you will not get a high enough static pressure to lift very much weight. With this, you can. So, backwards curved axial fan. That's what that is. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? Well, the construction of it. That would be important. I'm going to give you the next video here. I think this is the last video. And this, pay attention to what the kids are doing with the skirt. The skirt is a white piece of plastic laying out on the ground. They have to figure out how to create the largest perfect circle on that square piece of plastic. They cut that out, and then they have 6 small circles in the middle that have to go in a very accurate pattern. And so once they cut those out, then they have to assemble the whole thing together. So check out the video. Pay special attention to how they assemble this, the steps they go through a little bit, and you get kind of an idea of some of the problems that they have to go through. I could talk for this about hours and hours, so I'm just going to give you a quick overview of it all. But I'm happy to answer any questions next week as well. So check out the next video, watch the construction. So what do I actually do? I hope that I inspire the past 5th and 6th grade versions of yourselves to build the hovercrafts that you do today. That's what I hope I do. I hope that the current 5th and 6th graders that are going through this project will be the you in 10 or 15 or 20 years, however many years that it's been. So I hope that I can inspire kids to problem solve, work as a team, create hovercrafts because we know they're awesome, and go from there in their lives. That's basically all there is to it. How you can help me. This would be a huge help. First of all, we have no marketing budget at the Hovercraft Project. None. That means we only spread by word of mouth. So I need you to tell everybody. I don't care who you know in a school system. That makes no difference to me. Tell everybody you know that this project exists. Go to thehovercraftproject.com and you will see all kinds of information. Pass that website on to everybody you know, and we'll see what we can get going. All right, right now I'm the only one doing this at 80 schools in the U.S. I would be happy to have other people doing this around the world because it's so much fun. You guys would have a great time doing it as well. So let everybody know that we exist. Special thanks to the Hovercraft Club of Great Britain. Man, say that 10 times fast. You guys have made this all possible for me to have what I consider to be some worldwide recognition. So thanks again for the opportunity, and I look forward to questions and good times in a week. Thanks so much.